Hi, this is Robin from Bug Zapper Pest Control. Earlier in the year, we put together a video called Spring Pests You May Encounter, and it was all about the different type of pests that you would encounter in the springtime. Well, it's still spring, but it's starting to feel a little bit more like summer, and summer's coming up, so we thought we'd put together a video showing some of the things you'll encounter this summer. Now, here in the Pacific Northwest, from Roseburg to the coasts all the way up to Portland, we have some of the most beautiful scenery on Earth. Unfortunately, we don't have this all to ourselves. We have to share it with a variety of other things. This here is a carpet beetle. You'll see them a little bit this summer. They sometimes get confused for bed bugs. This is their larva. The marks they leave on your skin are actually from these larvae. We do have a video on carpet beetles that I'll link to in the description. These are ash borers. These are actually really rare for the Pacific Northwest. They're kind of a newer import. If you have an ash tree in your yard, there's a good chance you might have some of these show up during the year. They are alarming. They can show up in mass numbers. They look a bit like wasps from a distance. As you can see, they're crawling all over this stump from an ash tree that was cut down in someone's yard. They will not hurt you. They're fairly harmless. They just want another ash tree is all they're really looking for. And if you have a couple in your neighborhood, there's a good chance you might see a swarm of these. The swarm only lasts a couple of days, and then they dissipate. And the easiest solution is simply to get rid of the wood. If you planned on burning it, well, there's your problem solved. Here's a water skipper. I threw this in because I find them fascinating. I like the little shadow effect under it. These are fairly harmless. They won't really hurt anything. You'll see them in lakes. You'll see them in rivers. Occasionally, even in really large puddles. This is a dragonfly. You're going to see a lot of dragonflies this year. This one seems to have captured himself a cricket meal. Dragonflies can bite, but it's not common. Here we have gophers. We had a video recently on gophers that I'll link to in the description. If you have property that sides a large field, especially a field like this, and you see gopher mounds like that, you're probably going to have quite a few that are going to infiltrate your yard. Here we have a paper wasp. These make little nests in your eaves. Oftentimes they're confused with yellow jackets, though they are very, very similar. Yellow jackets nest in the ground. Paper wasps will nest in the eaves of your house, sometimes in branches and trees. Here's one up close. As you can see, they're the corvettes of the sky. They can sting many, many times. Some of them can bite. Here's a mud dauber nest. This one builds a nest out of mud in the eave of your house. You can see a larvae in the bottom right there. These are red mites. These are fairly harmless. You'll find these all over the place. I found this in a parking lot to an Albertsons, actually, on one of the light poles. They really can't hurt you any, but they do come out in swarms, and so you'll see a lot of them at once. Now, of course, we have spiders. You're going to see a lot of those. This one has a purple abdomen here, and he's having a little war with the guy next to him. I thought he was pretty neat looking. Spiders you'll find all over the place, in your house, outside your house, in the fields. There is a huge variety of spiders. I'm sure there is a way to categorize how many we have in the Pacific Northwest, but it would just be an estimate. Here we have a small cocooned larvae of a tiger moth. As you can see, it's quite alive in there. They look like small little pouches. And they are responsive to touch. You'll find them in the ground. You'll find them, under wood piles and things like that. This one was found in a molehill. Here we have a millipede curled up. He's not doing too good right now. He's quite pretty. This is a giant stonefly nymph. They're fairly harmless, but they are very large, and they can be alarming when you see them. They leave these husks behind as they mature. Here we've got a shield bug. One of the many types of shield and or stink bugs. They're fairly harmless, although we do have some invasive species, like this. This is the brown marmoted stink bug. They can damage crops. They won't really do much to you, and they're named for the fact that when you crush them, they kind of smell bad. These are larvae to pantry moths, which you might find in your kitchen. They're little tiny moths. The larvae are much bigger than the actual moths. Here's a white angel moth. Pretty common, very beautiful. They don't really cause any damage. Here's another type of moth you can find. They'll be buzzing around. There's a plentiful amount of them. There are a great many different types of moths in our area. This is a horsefly. These actually transmit swamp fever to horses. They do bite, and they are somewhat relentless. There's another kind of moth you'll see. This one's a little bit less common, but yeah, you'll see them around on the pavement and other places like that. And there are lots of tiny, small beetle-like insects, fly-like insects you'll encounter this summer that really don't mean much harm to you, but you will see them from now and then. Most are harmless. You'll find a variety of small beetles and things of that nature on flowers, on your eaves, in your house, outside of your house. If you've had a spray treatment done, you won't find hardly any in your house. They will generally perish as they approach the property line. Here's a big one. We're going to see cockroaches this summer. It is hot, and this is the weather they prefer. Here we have a German cockroach. These are oriental cockroaches. They're fast, they get into anything, they're definitely survivors, and they can lay eggs pretty quickly. This is a common sticky trap. As you can see, it's full of roaches. This was a place we visited recently to see how bad their infestation was. And as you can see, they grow in mass. They grow quickly and they can spiral out of control, especially in kitchens. If you're having problems with roaches, it's better to deal with that as quickly as you can, rather than wait until it gets out of hand. Once it gets out of hand, it's going to be a far more extensive process to get rid of them. Here we've got a little inchworm. You'll see these on your car, as this one was, mailboxes, on the ground, on fences especially. He's basically just, looking for a small meal and something in order to sustain himself. Here we have a mantis, or a mantid. They are definitely a bit more dangerous. They seem fairly large, and they do bite. Here we've got some bees swarming all over the place. You're going to see honeybees, bumblebees, mason bees, carpenter bees. You'll see a variety of these, not to be confused with wasps. When you mess with their nest, as this person's doing, you'll see what happens. Here we've got another paper wasp hiding in some flowers that were hung upside down to dry at a local residence here in Eugene. They can surprise you. If you were handling this, it might come out and give you a sting. Sugar ants. These are small ants, the little tiny ones you'll find occasionally on the backstop in your kitchen and your bathrooms. When they come into your house, they generally are looking for water before anything else. Once they find the water, they will then forage for food and take it back to their nest. They don't often nest within homes. They usually nest within dirt outside or possibly beneath the homes. They're relatively harmless, but they are considered a nuisance pest, and aesthetically, if you don't want them in your house, a treatment's a good idea. Here we've got a centipede, as differentiated from a millipede. A millipede has many, many more legs, 2 per segment on each side, whereas a centipede has 1 per segment on each side. And these you'll find most commonly around rivers. There's a carpenter ant. These can do structural damage to your home. Here's some more. This carpenter ant infestation was coming out of a light fixture in the ceiling of a house. As you can see, they're quick, they move fast, and they can be hard to get at. They don't actually eat the wood in your home. They only tunnel through it and create galleries in order to store things, and basically they make a highway through the wood in your house. Here's how they generally end up once we've put down a treatment. They don't fare too well. You'll find them anywhere you'll find moisture. They very quickly look for sources of drink, then they'll look for food. Here's a couple up close with an endoscope I have. As you can see, they move very quickly. This video is not sped up. As soon as they're frightened, they can just book it straight through there. They move very fast. They're very curious creatures as well. As with cockroaches, a carpenter ant infestation is much easier to treat if you get it early on. If you wait, then as the years go by, actual damage can happen to your structure. And they do bite. These are sugar ants. Here you'll see them attached to some bait that we've put down. They very much like the bait. They take this to the colony, and it can very quickly be wiped out. This is a good way to take care of ants when you can't get to the colony, or if the nest is, say, underneath the slab of a house. It's a very successful method for getting rid of them when a spray can't be used due to it being, say, a countertop or your sink or somewhere you wouldn't want to spray. These are spit bugs. Spit bugs are actually a larvae, and the spit itself is a secretion that they make in order to encase themselves to be safe. This is a tick. You're going to see a lot of those these summers, especially if you live near the woods, if you have pets, and especially if deer are in the area. Here we have a mole. These can tear up your lawn. This guy was ready for his close-up, and he was quite cooperative with the camera. These are large conifer aphids. You'll find them on conifers. They're also known as Christmas tree bugs. They're harmless to you. They just drink the sap from the tree, but you'll see them in mass. These are paper wasp larvae. If you ever wonder what's inside the little nests they make in your eaves, that's them. You can even see a leg coming out from the side of one. Here's a caterpillar. Caterpillars are fairly harmless. However, they will try to eat fruits and leaves and things from your trees, and they do hatch into more dangerous things. And that's it for this time around. I hope you found some of that information useful, and I think knowing a little bit more about the fascinating world of insects, rodents, and things like that we encounter in different seasons is a really good way to approach understanding our property and the world in which we live. I hope you found that useful, and as always, if you have any questions or would like to schedule a service, or if you're having a particular problem with a pest or an infestation, feel free to call us at any time. Our phone numbers, our website, and other ways to contact us will be in the information below. Okay.